So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
Hey, welcome back, guys, to another episode of Unreasonable Clout Podcast. There's a few people who've been actually mentioning, hey, what's up with the episodes, man? We need a little something. So as you guys can see on my pages, I've been participating, I guess you would say, as an outside affiliate with the Turning Point USA teams, 2 different chapters. There's Fresno State and also the Clovis Community College. You can check out my pages, look at some highlights of the debates and a lot of things that we covered. Some pretty good content. But anyway, we're going to go ahead into a headlining story, which is, as you can see, Trump meeting with Mamdani. Now, leading up to this meeting, there's been a lot of criticism from both sides between Trump and also Mamdani. So before we get into the actual meeting, we're going to go ahead and take it back real fast to about a week or 2 before this meeting, where Mamdani had some strong criticism about Trump. And then we're going to go straight ahead into a radio interview, play a little clip of Trump also responding to Mamdani's speech. Let's go ahead and get into it.
After all, if anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him. And if there is any way to terrify a despot, it is by dismantling the very conditions that allowed him to accumulate power. This is not only how we stop Trump, it's how we stop the next one.
So it was a little bit of a in your face when a time he should usually, after a victory speech, be kind of magnanimous. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I was hitting him a little hard, too, in all fairness. I was, hard to be totally friendly toward the opponent. His opponent wasn't. He had some interesting opponents. But he ran a good race. I don't know exactly what he means by turn the volume up, because turn the volume up, he has to be careful when he says that to me. But nobody really was able. I said, what does that mean, turn the volume up? Does that mean let's go at it?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, he was very nice in calling, as you know, and we're going to have a meeting. I guess we meet at 3 o'clock today.
As you can see, both sides did not really have a lot of things positive to say about each other. Well, I would say Trump was actually just replying to some harsh criticism that was coming from the left side, Democratic Socialist, Mayor-elect of New York City, Mamdani, Zoran Mamdani. I like to call him Moron Mamdani. I guess I'll take it a little bit lighter on him nowadays after this meeting. So we're going to go ahead and go into a little bit of details on this speech. So let's see. In the meeting with Donald Trump, Zoran Mamdani focused the conversation on affordability, a key campaign issue. Now, we all know that this is one of the main topics that he brought up. And also he backtracked on a few specific statements. And we'll get into that and play a clip too as well. His politically charged topics like keeping ICE out of the city and a bunch of other stuff. When asked about their past heated rhetoric, both men kind of downplayed it. I can see it from Trump's angle. You know what I mean? This is his hometown, and he thinks highly of New York City, and I know he wants to, as he said, make the city great again. So they shifted the focus to affordability. That's what they wanted the people to really focus on. They're just pretty much done with the negative stuff. Zoran Mamdani, he won the election, so he's going to be sworn in as the mayor soon. And, I just think he's trying to downplay. He had some things to say on the campaign and all that. We understand, and that's fine and dandy. So now I think he's just trying to tone it down. As you guys can see at the prior statement that he made at the speech, he was telling Trump to turn the volume up. And you've seen Trump's response to that. And I think they just met some common ground. So there's a couple things that he backtracked on. One of the things specifically is one of the interviewers asked him, or one of the journalists asked him, are you still sticking to higher taxes on these white neighborhoods? And obviously he backtracked. We're going to play a few clips of what Mamdani had to say, and as well as some of Trump's responses. And you can see a little bit of back and forth, some friendly banter as well. And let's go ahead and get into these clips.
He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist, and your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about.
That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
And Mr. President, I wanted to ask.
Burden for property taxes from what he called minority communities to white-based communities, and putting more taxes on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech, you didn't mention anything about America or Christians or white people in general. And so I didn't know if that was one of the policies that you guys had spoken about.
We focused on affordability. We focused on the cost of living crisis. What I will say is that I am very much interested in property tax reform, because what we see right now in New York City is a system that is so inequitable that it can't even stand up in court. And the president and I spoke about the importance of not only building more housing, but also making sure that regulation of housing is something that is manageable to actually get through, and not the cause of yet another weight that we see in our
But to be
city.
clear, you're continuing this idea of race-based property taxes.
No, to be very clear,
That's what you said.
no,
Yes, it is.
the use of the term was a description of neighborhoods, not a description of intent.
So you intend to tax the whiter neighborhoods more?
No, we intend to create a fair property tax system, because we want a New York City that is not only fair and equitable, but also one that every New Yorker can afford.
But I really think he has a chance to do a great job. But I'll let you answer that. You consider yourself the leader of the Democrats? I think it's more appropriate for him.
I consider myself the next mayor of New York City, and I keep my horizons firmly on New York City. And I appreciate the meeting with the president, which focused again on the 5 boroughs and whether New Yorkers could afford to live there.
I always said, one of the things I would love to be someday is the mayor of New York City. Being the mayor of New York, and especially now, because I think you're at really a turning point, one way or the other. It could go great, or it can go in a different direction. And I think you really have a chance to make it great.
Mr. President, you say you love New York City. Mr. Mamdani.
So overall, I watched it live, and I watched it a couple times over. Personally, I think that the meeting went pretty well. I'm not going to say I don't really have any harsh criticism on Mamdani. He really I wouldn't say he held his ground. Obviously, you guys seen he folded a few times. And especially with that comment where the reporter asked him, does he still think Trump is a fascist? And you see how he folded politely, and Trump really encouraged him, just go ahead, man. It's easier just to admit it than to lie, pretty much. Than to further explain it. Then you start digging yourself in a hole. Then you open yourself to more criticism. You know how this media flips your words and all that. So it was nice to see a little bit of friendly banter back and forth throughout these questions that the journalists were asking them. Now, like I said, overall, I think the meeting went very well. They found some common ground. They're really going to focus on affordability because, like I said before, this is Trump's hometown. He doesn't want to see it go down the drain to a democratic socialist. He's pushing the threshold of a communist if you think about a lot of his ideologies. But overall, I think Trump is willing to work with them. But I know for sure a lot of these things, as far as like free buses and free rent for a lot of these low-income people, they're going to find some common ground on that. So we'll talk about that in the future. Now let's go ahead and get into another story real fast.